We're back again for another week of State of Mind, and today we have Maree Kirkpatrick, beautiful Maree Kirkpatrick. I've met her at one of Adrian's a long, long time ago. It would have been like 3-4 years ago, and
Yeah.
we had a chat about growth and sales. It's what she's been doing, what she's really passionate about, and she's done a lot of things in the field as well as getting out, getting master classes, and doing plenty of things out there that a lot of you have not heard of. And one of the things that also came up a few times were burnout, and I'd like to touch up on burnout a little bit later on, but I'd like to see what we can draw out of your own experiences from a growth perspective, because a lot of people are currently suffering out there at the moment on how to grow their business, what to
Yeah.
do, and just to give them a few different tips. And I'll let you talk now.
Yeah.
Maree, thanks for
Okay.
What
jumping
have you
on.
been up to?
What's been happening?
Yeah, so sales and business is something that I am so passionate about for so many reasons. And I think one of them, as we chatted about before we hit, the big live broadcast button, was family and kids and all that sort of stuff. And for me, as soon as I found out I was pregnant with my first child, I was like, right, I need to find a business that I'm going to get up and running, that I've been talking about for like 6 years, baby, fast forward it, like, let's go type thing. And so I always said to myself that I didn't want to be that mum that had to go into someone's office and ask for permission to go to a sports carnival or a swimming carnival. And so, I was like, right, let's jump into this big business world. And it is something that I never could even imagine. Like, it was such a different, when you go somewhere, you think, oh, it's going to be like this, and then you get there and it's completely different. Not in a bad way. It's just very different to what I thought it would be. And I started business from I kind of started backwards. So it was like, how do I get sales first? And then how do I build the business side of it? So how do I, I never had a website. I never had a logo. That was never my focuses. It was like, how do I make money first so then I can pay for all the other things that I need? So now I help other businesses do the same thing.
What a great way to start it. Like, it's a lot of people don't even think that way. A lot of people are like, oh, I need to get these things in order. I need to have this and I need to have that. But if you had if a lot of people actually went about just building those relationships and creating the small little foundation of people, like when we first met, I just thought, oh yeah, she's got something there. No, I love what you're doing. Except I've also been in sales, so like, how can I help you? And it's more like you're already doing what you were doing. So
yeah. Well, even from a consulting perspective, like my first business I ever set up was an e-commerce vitamins and supplements business, because as a mum and as a female,
Vibrant Bodies.
It was Vibrant Bodies, yes.
Okay.
Vibrant Bodies has now closed down after many years. I realized I couldn't juggle everything. Surprise, surprise. And so I set up this e-commerce business, and I was talking to one of my old clients from corporate, and he was telling me that he had this sales guy come in to to train his team. It cost him just under 10 grand for the day, and apparently the guy was not amazing. And he made this off the cuff kind of comment like, ha ha ha, I should have got you to come in and do it. And I walked out of his studio that day, and I was like, oh man, I've just missed an opportunity, like it's something that I've always wanted to kind of do. And it took me a couple of days, I won't lie, it took me a couple of days to kind of get the guts up and go, I'm going to call him back. Like, let's see what happens. I'm going to call this guy back. And so I called him. I was like, hey, I'm nervous. And I said, oh, I've been thinking about it. He goes, I've been thinking about it as well. He's like, I think you should come in and run a training session. I was like, okay, great. And that's kind of how it started. I didn't sleep for 2 weeks, like freaking out about how the hell I'm going to run my first workshop. But from there, it just kind of like kept going. And so I was like, okay, cool. And then my consulting just grew and grew. And then Vibrant Bodies was still there, and then I had to close down Vibrant Bodies because I just couldn't juggle it all with kids, consulting, and all of that as well. So, yeah, I think if you can nail sales in your business, everything else will, or you'll have the cash to sort out everything else. I think it's a better way to look
The
at
cash flow, because it's
cash
cash
flow.
flow. It's always been the thing that was needed in business. Cash flow is always king, because if you've got
Yeah,
cash, you've got time to spend on not only building but paying yourself, because a lot of people don't pay
yeah.
themselves.
So many business owners don't pay themselves. Just yeah, and it's always been mind blowing for me. Like even when I first started and I knew nothing from a finance and business background, I was like, right, I'm just going to make the decision that whatever I bring in, I'll pay myself 50%, and 50%, the other 50%, I'll figure out whatever has to happen with that, with tax and all of that, and someone will just kind of help me figure it out as I go. But it was always a big thing. Like I need to be paid to work. I never wanted to be that resentful business owner of like I'm busting my backside, but it's not rewarding me financially. I don't want to have that financial stress, and so yeah, it's really
So so
important
so tell us some tips. So tell us some tips
from a sales perspective or from like
from a sales perspective. Like
yeah.
if
So
but for people listening out there at the moment, give us 3 different tips that's going to put everything forward, get the
the
ball
wheels flowing a
rolling,
little bit
the
faster. Yeah,
wheels moving,
wheels don't
get
really
people
flow.
to start talking to other people.
Yeah.
That's one of the most important part, is the relationships, and I'll let you
True.
jump into it.
So, so if I could give 3 tips, wow, gosh, I'm not very good at narrowing things down, but let's give it a crack. So for me, if there were 3 things that you had to do when it came to a sales perspective, the first thing would be to understand exactly what it is that your client needs, not who your ideal client is, because when I first started in business, everyone was like, nail down your niche, focus on one thing, which is great, but not for someone like me that likes to mingle in a whole heap of different stuff. So for me, it came down to like, who are the people that I want to work with? Like, what are those people like? What are their values? What are their beliefs? What are they like as a person? And so one of my things is like, if I don't want to pick up the phone and talk to you, you're not my ideal client. But I'm not going to narrow it down to I just specialize in this specific area. Because from a sales perspective, I know that if I sort out the foundations of your business from a sales perspective, it doesn't matter what industry you're in. I've worked in I've worked with clients in automotive, legal, dental, social media,
Ice
um,
cream. Oh,
ice
what?
cream, yes. So and like health and fitness, all like so many different businesses. But for me, it's like, how do you get to the bottom of what people really need? And then how do you present what you do based on what they need? So don't create something and then go and find people to sell it to. Find people that have a need and then have the solution based on what their problem is that they need solved. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And a lot of
It's
people will
needs
go,
based
well, I'm going to
selling.
develop, yeah, I'm going to develop this course based on what I know. And then they go and try and find people to sell it to. Where if you go and find people and have a chat to them and find out what's your biggest challenge in business, in tech, in health and fitness, like whatever industry you're in, and then go out and say, what are you looking for? What would that solution look like for you? And I think that's when you have really big results. And
I like that. I
mm,
like that you're actually getting feedback from the people, because
absolutely.
once you start getting feedback, you'll get better feedback from a lot of other people that you speak to, as well as the people that you talk to would probably have some feedback on, or be able to introduce you to someone that has some of some of the issues, or
Yeah.
some of the needs that you talk about.
Yeah.
So I love that. That it's quite challenging. I want to move the challenge into to motherhood. You've been a
Yeah.
mother. You're into bit, because we're all parents here now. So like,
Yeah.
it's a hard balance, right? It's this hard balance
It is a
around
hard
parenthood.
balance. Yeah. And I
So,
think it's also choosing, for me, it's choosing what I put my energy into, right?
ooh,
Like,
energy.
yeah. And because I have been on the burnout side of life, and I wish I could tell you it was only once, but it's not. It's made me really clear on what I'm willing to put energy and time into and what I'm not. And what matters most to me from a parent is quality time. I don't want to be that parent that outsources their kids a whole heap. Like I've got an 17-month-old, I think he is now. And
Thinking
he's
about
still very much at home, and hubby and I juggle it between the two of us. We both run businesses. There's 3 businesses happening in the house, not in the house, but run by us in the house. God, could you imagine 3 businesses in one house? Would be a little bit hectic. And so for us, it's like what's important to us, what really matters, and what doesn't, and what can we drop the ball on. So for me, it's just being really clear on. And I also like to outsource things when I can, like outsourcing the food side of life, and things like that too. So, yeah.
like
I'm just sitting here.
what
I'm
other
just sitting
things?
here. I'm
Okay.
just gonna inject.
Yeah.
You can see that the energy now. I see that the passion explaining all this that you're doing, and I'm just sitting here. I can see, like, look at Sandro now, just fully engaged. And it's great to see the conversation that's happening because we're talking about energy and connectedness.
Yeah, and this is real life, right? Like this is not Instagram shiny photos.
Oh, I look
Everything.
good. I look pretty. Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we look amazing. Like, let's be honest, we look amazing. But I think it's also about being real and honest about what happens in the background of business and life and kids and the juggle and all of that.
Authenticity.
Yeah. And that's why, like, even before this conversation, the question was, what's off limits? Nothing for me. Like, nothing is off limits, because if things were off limits, then that's trying to hold myself back, and I'm not open to that. There's no need for me to do that.
About being real.
Yeah. And so, like, even in the back, if you can see here, there we go, nailed it.
Opposite direction.
Yeah. So for me, if I look at success, it's not just having multi-million-dollar businesses, and it's not just a financial aspect. It's my family, it's my relationship, it's my health, it's happiness, it's all of that. And wealth is on the bottom, because without the ones above that, money doesn't mean anything for me. Like, I don't want to be.
Wealth can
Health is
also
health as well.
mean wealth to me can also mean the abundance of having
Absolutely.
the people around you, the what you have. It doesn't mean material to me, because a lot of people attach wealth to just money.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, like, this is, it may be a little bit controversial, but I'm going to throw it out there. I see a lot of business owners that have really successful businesses, and as the years go on and their businesses grow, things fall apart on the back end, like relationships, family, all of that. And I keep saying to my husband, like, I'm so freaking clear on this. I keep saying to him, I'm not all about building this business and then us falling apart in the background. Like, that's not what I'm about. What do we need to do to keep everything together, and us as a family, and quality time and happy and all that too? So that ball is not allowed to be dropped for me. It's really important from that aspect. Family and relationships, it's not a ball that's allowed to be dropped. I'm not allowed to swap work for family and relationships.
I love that, because I have seen that, and I'm in that myself. So that sort of happened to me a few times, and it's not an easy thing when you're focusing on one thing, and you focus solely on one thing. That's the only thing that you live and breathe for. And when you do that, everything else drops. Yeah, and that's one of the biggest issues that everyone does go through, because you could have this very successful business that's running, but then if everything else falls apart, it takes you down with you. Like, everything just, it's like the foundation is gone, so everything goes down. So
absolutely.
That's also part of the burnout. Like, you get burnt out, like trying to focus on one thing, that we forget about our health. We forget about all the people that really supported us. And
And like even over the past couple of weeks, I've been watching some, I think they're called docuseries. They're not really documents, but they're based like, let me just tell you what they are. One of them was about Uber, the guy that started Uber and how Uber started. How many times do I need to say that? But everything kind of falls down the higher up the business grows, and he just doesn't stay grounded and just kind of loses the plot a little bit and ends up getting kicked out of his own company. It happens in WeWork, the company WeWork as well, before it went under, and then all of that side of it.
That's to Steve Jobs.
Oh no, that's what
kicked out of his company,
Steve Jobs
right?
gets kicked out of his own businesses too at some stage in the history of it. And so for me, it's about how do we keep that communication going. I think if I was a single person with no kids or anything like that, I would be a complete workaholic because I love what I do and I can easily get stuck in that. But it's about having hubby say to me, okay, cool, like enough's enough for work, or we need quality time, or let's go out on a date night, or we need a holiday, or whatever that is, and just kind of keeping in check from a reality point of view too. So
how often do you do that?
do I do date nights and stuff?
No, well, not just date nights, but having these reality checks.
Mate, we have big reality checks in this house, a lot. Because I've got a lot of balls in the air. It's a constant conversation that we have in our house. What does today look like? What are you doing work-wise? What am I doing work-wise? How do we juggle the baby that's home full-time? How do we sort out kids run, like school runs? How do we sort out after-school activities, sport, volunteering? All of that is a continuous conversation that we have on a regular basis in this house.
Mm.
Yeah. Does it always go smoothly? No. Does it sometimes get heated? Yes. Like, let's be real. But between us, it's something that we're both quite clear that family first. So, yeah.
It's also, and then there's the environment that comes into it too. We've just, at the moment, we're just experiencing feels like so many things at once that's happening because we've been so connected. Like, what's it going to look like in the world going to look like in the next 10, 20, 30 years? Like, we want to be there. And at the moment, there's just these, who are we connecting with that's going to take us forward? How can we live the life that we want to live?
Yeah.
And continue to move forward. So just and it's having these conversations and connecting with people that we have great energy with.
Yeah. And I'm also conscious of who I spend time with these days too. Like if you don't not light me up, but if I don't feel like energetically there's a connection there, it's really hard for me to show up and be in that space.
Yeah.
This is where I'm going to jump into this bit because what about energy vampires?
Oh, yes. Everyone has at least one of them, right?
What about these people that just sort of like wants to drag you down or just wants to gravitate towards you and just suck the energy out of you?
Yeah.
What's happened to these people? Why do they? Because we feel. Yeah, go ahead.
I think there's a lot to be said for passion in life. And not necessarily like, I don't know if you guys ever went through that, why am I here? What's the purpose of life type stuff? And people would say, find something that you love doing, you never work a day in your life, or do something you do for free. And I've always struggled with that because for me, business is about making money and impacting on a bigger scale. But there's also and money element needs to be there too, because if I'm helping everyone for free, then I'm not helping myself or my family grow. And so for me, it's more about what does it look like for me to be excited to get up in the morning, or what needs to be my day for me to be a little bit more relaxed or chilled out so that I'm not running in this constant fight or flight mode. And so, I'm just conscious of what that looks like for me. I put myself in a little bit of a bubble.
So I'm going to throw a spanner in there now, because it's always been this thing about socialism versus capitalism and what really works. So because we're capitalists, right? And I'm sort of drawing a little bit more towards a little bit of socialism because of the uneven balance that's currently in the world. And I've seen the uneven balance in a sense that there's people out there that's starving or becoming homeless. Like we even go to the fountain, we see some people out there that's been homeless for months. And I sat down and talked to one of the people there, and they've been homeless for about 4 years. So where's the solution for that? Because the government doesn't seem to care.
I think it's about. So someone's commented, greedy, self-indulgent people sap your energy, take and run. I've met so many, not anymore. I'm more selective. I think it's also when you meet those people, you're very much aware of, I don't know, for me, I follow my gut instinct on that sort of stuff. But for me, it's also about from a supporting people point of view, I find things that I'm quite passionate about to support. Oh, why are you screaming baby in the background? Sorry if you can hear that. Here's realism.
Bring him in.
No, we're not bringing you in. He's behind the door.
This is Mum's time.
And so for me, like I've only recently found out that there is a domestic violence shelter for women in Hornsby. I never knew about that. But as soon as I found out about that, I was like, what do you need? And their biggest thing was money. I was like, cool, I can give you money. Like money's okay to give you, you know. What else can I do to support the things that I'm passionate about from a moving people forward, moving society forward? And I think it's also, and I have these conversations with my 8-year-old as well. How do I bring up my children to understand that they are very privileged? Like even just living in Australia is a freaking privilege. Like you can go to a hospital and be looked after. Don't sit there and complain about paying taxes and all that crap. Like I'm not interested. People don't want to pay tax, but then they also want to be able to be saved when their life depends on it. And it's not based on money. Does that make sense? Like it's such a, I don't know. It's something I'm really,
we're in the top. I think what is it? We're in the top 20% of the world, and top of the 10% of earning around the world.
Yeah.
So we're privileged.
And I think it's also that earning money and things like that is a choice. It's very much a choice. There is always ways to earn money, whether you are 5 years of age or whether you are 50 or 100 years of age. There's always ways to make money. What you need to do is go and find people that have a challenge that you can help them solve, or find something that they would like or need or want. There's always a way to find more money.
Someone always needs something, and that's a very, very important message there. I just wanted to sort of end it to a certain point that is one of the biggest things. It's people need something, and the biggest thing in sales and growth is finding the needs of people. And if we can meet those needs, we can make money. We can produce incomes. We can produce things or anything that's really required for growth.
Yeah. And finding out what makes you different, what makes you different, if it's from a business perspective, from, you know, what makes you unique, what makes you better than some of your competitors, what do you do differently? And then how do you present your products and services in a way that people want to buy, so you don't have to be pushing and hustling and selling. I even hate the word selling on sales. I don't know why. I just think that people have quite a negative kind of, I don't like being sold to. No one likes being sold to.
No one likes that.
Like you're being sold to in every aspect of life. You're in a relationship, you've sold yourself. You're wearing a T-shirt. You've bought something. You've been given something. Someone's paid money somewhere for that shirt, clothing, technology, car, food, table, whatever it is. You've been salty.
We still all need those basic needs, right? We still need
Absolutely.
somewhere to live. We still need to eat,
Yeah.
shelter,
Yeah.
security, safety.
It's just a mindset when it comes to sales as well. What does that look like? Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know I can add more things to this, and I'm aware that you're going to jump into your next meeting, and we'd love to invite you again and have a chat about this in the future, and have a conversation around this with other people. Just for growth and sort of build some sort of a masterclass even that people could learn. So it'd be good if we could create some sort of an event to help a lot of the business owners out there and start developing some things. We've started growing the network up and down the whole East Coast, so it's starting to happen.
Perfect.
Julia. Wow.
Julia.
Do you know what I love is I've done masterclasses for many, many years, and I had one lady reach out to me and say,
"That's great, Julia. Thank you."
Yeah, awesome. If you've got questions, Julia, feel free to ask. I had one lady come to me and said, I watched you present 3.5 years ago and I implemented just some of it, and I just want to say thank you. And I was like, 3.5 years ago? Wow, how wicked is that? I think if we can make an impact as well as an income on people's lives, then sweet.
That's energy, right? That's energy you put out there, but it's come back to even them being grateful about the whole thing. Yeah. For the last 3 years, they've been thinking about you. To say thank you, right?
Hopefully good thoughts.
Well, thanks for jumping on. It was great to catch up again. I know, we sort of met, and then
always
there's been
good,
some
guys.
certain time, but it's been great to catch up again.
And you guys are doing some great work, bringing people together and supporting small businesses and all that sort of stuff as well. So I think it's great.
Thank you. All right,
until both online and offline, it's important for both.
For sure. So. Absolutely. But thank you so much for having me.
No worries.
You've given me a bit of a pep in the step, a bit more of a pep in the step for the day.
It's been great. This is what it's
that's good.
So I'm happy to help in any way that I can, whether it's running a masterclass or whatever it is for you guys.
All right, awesome.
That sounds good.
Perfect.
All right.
Thanks, Maree.
Anything else you guys would like to end it with? All right. Until next week. It's like it went quite. There's crickets. I should
stay positive.
Stay positive.
No, just go. I think for me, go out and do what you love. And if you are back to the burnout side of life, if you are feeling that, for me, when I was feeling burnt out, I just kept thinking in my head, I've got to push through this. I've got to get through this. I've got to get through this. I've just got to do this. And it wasn't until I actually stopped and gave myself permission and had the conversation with hubby as well and said, I'm out for a little bit. I'm done. He's freaking out. What does that look like? What does that happen with businesses? What happens with money? I don't know at the moment. For me, it's just I need time out. I'm
break.
Time out.
Yeah. I'm at maximum capacity. I can't think. I can't make decisions. I can't. Yeah. And so.
You got the brain fog stage.
Oh, man, that brain fog.
I had it the other day on a live. Couldn't think of Stephen's name.
Anymore. It's like, what? Who was that? Who? What? Yeah.
And it can take time. There's also the time. So you got time out, but where do I find the time for time out?
I think it was just about, for me, like that, the irregular brain fog kept coming. And then it was just space cadet-y. I was just so done. I was tired. Not just physically tired, but exhausted.
Mentally, couldn't really think, don't know what I'm doing today.
Didn't care. I didn't care about anything. I just, whatever. And for me...
Not like in a beach bum sort of thing. It's like...
No, just not even, wouldn't even go to the beach if I was a beach bum type mentality, I was that done. And it wasn't until I literally just stopped everything, just took took my foot off the accelerator for everything, and said, I am in pure survival mode. Kids need to be fed and looked after. Yes, I can't check out from that side of it. But from a business and work perspective, I'm not going to be delivering my best and helping clients perform and get the results that I'm truly passionate about in the space that I'm in. So I gave myself a couple of months off. And I think that's also comes down to the financial aspect, right? Like, save for the rainy day, save for the brain fog, save for the burnout, save for whatever happens type thing. So, and I've come back in the past couple of months, just all guns blazing. Like, I'm so excited for the next.
You become so much more productive once you've got that rest, right? Like, you go,
Yeah.
oh, my mind is active again. Everything's kicking.
Yeah, and taking the pressure off and saying, no, I'm done, allowed for me to kind of find inspiration and creativity a little bit more. Like, I started building like little miniature houses type thing of like, what can I do to kind of keep creating, but without the pressure of business and finance and growing businesses for other people and stuff too. And as I kind of started to tinkle, then the creative business stuff came in, and it came in stronger and clearer. And it was just, So that's where this new program that I'm birthing at the moment is coming from. Like, it just dropped to me, and I was like, right, this is it. This is exactly what it is. Now it's just getting it filmed and recorded and ready to go.
I'd love to hear more about that too.
We'll stay in touch.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you for having me, guys.
No, thanks for jumping on. That was great.
No worries.
All right. Until next week.
Catch you again
See
soon.
you all.